Okay. I post everything first. Hey. Making sure the link is good. Okay. Hey, hi. Glad this worked. There's like a new live stream feature on YouTube that's very streamlined, and I wasn't sure if everything would be fine. But thankfully, it actually looks like a good improvement. And the chat's already set up. I can see all the things I need to see. It's really convenient. So hopefully it doesn't end up being more complicated than it needs to be. So yeah, thank you. I just decided to do this for like a live hangout. And then I was like, wait, I just hit 40K. So that's like really awesome. So yeah, this looks really nice. I feel like very official. So yeah, YouTube actually has improved something, which is bizarre. And it's the live stream feed, which is like super not necessary. They should improve other things, but for doing something. I'm seeing a lot of people saying hi from international places, and that always blows my mind because you guys are in completely different time zones, and some of you it's probably like really late at night, so thank you for joining me. And yeah, it's crazy. I'm seeing like Greece, I'm seeing Canada, I think Dubai earlier. So yeah, it's just, oh, Ireland, Scotland, man, guys, oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, that's awesome. So thank you for joining me, Denmark. Oh my gosh. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I don't really have anything planned. I just figured that we would chit chat and stuff. So that's really excellent. And anything that you guys want to talk about, I am here to talk about it. So I hope that this is fun because I love doing these. I love doing live hangouts. They're just really fun. And today I was like, I don't have any time to like actually sit down and film a video for today. And I was like, live hangout. It's like the best because I just get to hang out and like it's just fun. I've been doing them a lot also on my Instagram. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it should be linked in my description. But I've been doing live streams on Instagram when I'm doing my makeup to film, like a couple times, like 3-4 times a month. So yeah, I definitely have been doing that. If you guys like this whole like live stream thing. So I'm trying to get some okay. What are you currently reading? I am still reading Children of Blood and Bone. I have had no time. It's really good. Obviously, I think everybody else is reading it, so I'm sure you guys have already heard. It's really good, but I have not had the opportunity to finish it. So I'm about 75% of the way in. Like I'm going to finish it soon, but I'm just not sure if I'm going to finish it today because I have some homework to do today. Save me. I'm in the middle of 2 classes right now, so it's been a lot, and it's just like the first week of those 2 classes because my classes are 7 weeks long. So if you guys are like, wow, I take like 5 classes, yeah, my classes are 7 weeks long, and they're supposed to. It's a semester of material pushed into 7 weeks, so they're not fun. So yeah. I am going to do a review for A Conjuring of Light. I know a lot of people are very surprised that I actually rated that book fairly high. I am shocked as well. So I'll be doing a review for that one coming up probably next month, I'm thinking. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed my eyebrows. I'm actually trying a new eyebrow product, and it's like $2. It's the Essence. I'm trying to look and see if I can see it at my table. Essence Make Me Brow, I want to say, and it's a dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow. And it's not like a perfect dupe, but it's pretty close, so it's pretty good. Would you, Sarah Jane, and Kristen do a random read along again? I'm not sure because we all have like so like conflicting schedules completely. Especially not until I'm done with school probably because it's just yeah. I am reading Anti Darken. I just started it on audiobook and I'm liking it, but I'm not like super in love with it. I think I'm like 30% of the way into it, and it definitely feels like a really long prologue. So it's okay, but it's not, I'm not like loving it so far, but I am loving that it's like sort of the makings of a villain, anti-villain, stuff like that. Any anticipated books for the spring and summer? I already talked about my spring anticipated books. I have a video on that. Summer ones, I don't know which ones are the ones that are from summer and the ones that are from fall. So I'm trying to think of like what some of the summer books are. But I don't really even start thinking about book releases later on in the year until it gets to that part in the year, because there's so much stuff coming out now. Like there's so many books like that I don't have yet that I'm not going to have a chance to get to. And I am super conflicted because I want to be reading all of them. Like I should, with the level that I'm enjoying of Children of Blood and Bone, I should be done with it, but I literally haven't had time. There was like 5 days this week where I didn't even read at all. At all. It's really upsetting. Are you looking forward to Dance with Thieves by Mary E. Pearson? Yes. A lot. I think that's going to be great. What are some of your favorite contemporary books that focus on strong family dynamics? Anything by Janie Nelson is like A+ for family stuff. My contemporaries are right here on my shelf, so I can look. A Monster Calls is really good for family stuff. Aristotle and Dante is awesome for family stuff. Those are the major ones. There's a couple other here that I'm looking at, but none of them are screaming like family dynamics at me. So, favorite Harry Potter character? That is a difficult question. I feel like it changes all the time. I mean, I love my like trash Malfoy family. So here's the problem. I really like Draco Malfoy, but as a character that's been built upon by the fandom. In the books, I still like him, but he's not a good person in the books. He has potential by like the last book, right? So, but I like that character for that. And I'm rereading the books right now. Well, not like currently, but I'm at a constant rereading phase with them. So maybe I'll remember more. Have you read Carry On by Rainbow Rowell? I have not yet, but it's a book I plan to read at some point. Characters with PTSD. All of the characters in the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin have PTSD of some kind. It's not necessarily labeled as PTSD, but like, yeah. I'm trying to think of other characters that have like PTSD symptoms. I feel like Quoth from The Name of the Wind has PTSD. Like, but none of them have like, for sure, PTSD. There's a contemporary book that I didn't like, but it's by Heather Demetrios, and I think that character has PTSD. But very few have ones that are like, this character is dealing specifically with PTSD. I have not read Vicious yet, but Sarah Jane and I plan on buddy reading that at some point. It's a book we plan on buddy reading like this, whenever we get time, basically. So I'm excited for it in that it's coming. I know Vengeful is coming, but I have not read it yet. So spring-themed reads. You know what, guys? Spring-themed for me is like contemporary, and I don't love a ton of contemporary books, but I have my favorite contemporary books in a video on my channel that you can check out. So I think those are like the spring reads kind of thing. Do you recommend reading the Grisha trilogy before Six of Crows? Yes. You don't technically have to. Even Lee says you don't have to, but I think especially for Crooked Kingdom, you're going to appreciate it more if you have read the Grisha trilogy, because there's stuff and characters that you're not going to have an attachment to if you don't read it first. So try. Do you have any adult fantasy recs that don't have any sexy time in it? The Night Circus doesn't. Like, I saw it's like explicit. There's a little bit in the Broken Earth trilogy, but it's like not. It's like a teardrop in what it actually, like, the rest of the story. So like that there's really not, but there's like one scene in that that might bother you. The Grace Keepers doesn't have any like. I'm talking like explicit. The Naomi Novik Temeraire series doesn't have, like, most of the fantasy, basically almost all the adult fantasy I read doesn't have explicit sex scenes in them, or even like not even like softcore sex scenes. Like, I don't like sex scenes in my books. Like, I'm okay with them, like, but I don't personally like reading them, so I tend to avoid. What are your favorite kinds of videos to film? The discussion ones, although they take like the most time, like when I'm talking about like discussing a bookish topic, like a book chat, those are my favorite, but they take a lot more planning, and like making sure you're saying what you need to say in the way that you want to say it. So I like those probably the most. And it's fun to do like wrap ups and stuff, because like, why not? When will you be able to read The Wise Man's Fear and The Republic of Thieves? I really want to know what you think of them. Y'all, I literally have no time. I have not been able to read Children of Blood and Bone, which is a YA book, at all, I am not going to get to any of my giant fantasy books that are adult until I'm done with school. I talk about this all the time. This is not an attack at you personally, but I'm like, guys, I'm drowning. I am drowning. I barely have time to do anything. Like, I will get to them when I can. I really want to get to them too. So don't think that I don't want to get to them, because I do. And if I had the time, I would. But this book can kill someone, and it would kill me if I tried to read it right now, because I don't have the time. I don't have the time. So realistically, sometime after September of this year. Do I like bookish candles? If so, what are your favorite types of scents? I have actually a menagerie right here of some that I've gotten in like subscription boxes. So this one's good. This one's a Cabe's Water scent, and it's from In the Wick of Time. It smells like moss and mint. I like a lot of like earthy scents. So what's another one that's over here? I feel like I have a really good one. This one's, I don't like that one as much. I'm not going to tell you which one that is, though. I think I have a Night Circus one. Yeah, I do. I have a Cirque de Rêves one. This is from Frostbeard Studio, and it's bomb. It has like, it smells like chocolate and popcorn and like all this stuff. What's this one? Reading at the Cafe. This one's good. It has coffee. Yeah. I like a lot of them, honestly. I like a lot of bookish candles. It smells. Books similar to Star Wars. As far as space operas, and I wouldn't say it's similar to Star Wars because Star Wars has more fantasy in it, but space operas, my favorite is the Leviathan Wakes Expanse series right now. Do you read and or write fan fiction? I read like one-shots of fan fiction, and I'm not like, I haven't sought out like fan fiction on like Archive of Our Own in a long time because I don't have time. But I support it. But I see it mostly on like Tumblr and stuff. I don't write any, although I've seriously considered. Seriously. But again, I don't have time. I'm just going to start like inserting myself singing that anytime somebody asks me if I do anything. Because I'm just like, help me, I'm in graduate school, help. And some of you that aren't in graduate school or have never been in graduate school are probably like, shut the fuck up. But like, listen, if I have to suffer, you have to suffer with me by hearing about it, okay? It's fair. Do you watch any K-dramas? I have watched the first part of Goblin, and it is so up my alley because it's so dramatic, and it has flashbacks, and it has like fantasy stuff, and it is the most. They do a lot of slow motion. It's a lot, and I liked it, but I haven't had time. So, you're gonna hear that like all the time. But I do. That's one that I want to watch. Like that's a TV show that I want to watch. Somebody else asked me if I watch any TV shows, and I saw that question and then was in the middle of talking. So I watch like some reality TV right now, just because like that's the only thing that I really have like time and mental energy for. So right now, the only things I watch on TV live or that I like DVR is RuPaul's Drag Race. Season 10 just started, and I am hype. And the All-Star season 3 just ended, and it was great. Conflicted. I like who won. Anyway, and I watch the Spring Baking Championship on Food Network because it brings me joy and it makes me happy. And it's springtime, so it like makes me happy because it's like we just had a snowstorm here, and I just want it to be spring, and so it makes me happy because they're making like spring dishes, and it's something that I can turn on and off really easily. So I don't currently watch any other shows like that are fictional, but I will when I'm done with school. First impressions of this season's RuPaul's Drag Race Queens. You guys are going to hear this because I love it. Right now, as of currently, I like, and I'm going to mix up some of their names. I like Miss Cracker, which I wasn't expecting. I like, I think Monet and Monique. Are those the two M's I really like, and Dusty Ray Bottoms and Cameron, the one with the muscles. Those are my favorites right now. Those are my top running. I like Blair Sinclair too, but I can't get over how Blair out of drag looks like an 8-year-old boy. So my major in grad school is social work. I'm getting a master's in social work, and I'm going to be done in August. I am so ready. I don't know where you. Do you agree with who went home? I didn't think that the bottom two should have been in the bottom two necessarily. I think that the Vixen, is it the Vixen? No, yes. The Vixen should have been in the bottom, and maybe Kardashian or Calorie. That should have been maybe the bottom two. And then and then maybe that would have been. So like, I don't love Vanessa, but also it's weird that she went home so soon. But she didn't win the lip sync at all. Like, she struggled with that lip sync. So the All Stars 3 finale was Rigamorous. And I'm saying that because that's the way that it's a meme from Drag Race. I know that it's Rigamorous. The Drag Race fans will know. I'm saying that specifically a certain way. So I think that was a little bit ridiculous. I love the winner of All Stars 3 the most, but I'm also like, I feel like the top 2 should have been Shangela and Trixie. And Bandilla. Like, it's just a lot happened. And the whole, like, the voting thing for the top 2 was, like, completely not right. So Trixie is my favorite, like, of all time, but I think Shangela should have actually won. So you can start with the current Drag Race season. You can start with any Drag Race season. I actually haven't watched all the Drag Race seasons. I started with season 5, and then I've gone back and watched some of the other ones and, like, skipped around a lot. So you can start with any Drag Race season because it's a reality show and you don't really need context. Sometimes you'll be like, they'll reference another queen. You'll be like, who's that? But I also watch a lot of the, they have a YouTube channel, like Wild Presents is the production company behind it. And they have a YouTube channel. And so I watch a lot of stuff there, like, with them. So I know a lot of the queens from that. Do I read indie fantasy? Not really, like indie authors and stuff. I don't. Have you ever played Tomb Raider? I've played the most recent Tomb Raider, well, not the most recent. I played like the reboot of Tomb Raider, and I love it so much. So much. Let me see. Shangela, yes. I don't have a favorite Stephen King book because I don't read Stephen King because I don't read horror. And I know that Stephen King doesn't only write horror, but I also just don't have time for Stephen King. I've watched a lot of the movies that are based on his stuff. I feel no compulsion to read Stephen King just because he's Stephen King. Do you play tabletop games, and which ones are your, what one is your favorite? So tabletop is in like tabletop RPGs or tabletop as in miniatures, because I do both. I actually just talked about this in my other science fiction and fantasy media that I like. My favorite tabletop game, the one that I played a lot, was War Machine. I also am interested in Malifaux, so another thing with miniatures. And then as far as favorite like RPGs, I have always played GURPS. I might start playing D&D if, again, I have time. And I've played a couple other systems like Fate and Blades in the Dark and stuff. But I play GURPS as the one, like my main one. What consoles do you have right now? I have a PS4 and a PS3 and an N64, and I play the PS4 and the PS3 the most. I've never owned an Xbox because I am a Sony snob. So, what do you think about the upcoming Ms. Cracker Aquaria drama? I'll be fine with it as long as this is another Drag Race thing. As long as it's not like the Alyssa and Coco drama that lasts until one of them goes home. Like, can we not? Are you interested in Far Cry 5? I've never played a Far Cry game, but I keep seeing stuff about it. So I'm mildly intrigued. What order should I read the Shadowhunter Chronicles? I've only read the Infernal Devices, so I'm not the person to ask. Favorite mythology is Greek and Celtic, I think, are like my 2 favorite. And obviously Celtic, like, is like the Irish, Scottish, so I guess Welsh could be in there too. Like those kinds. And I really like Eastern European, like, a lot. Those are my top 3. I do like God of War. I am hype. I have a lot of video games to catch up on. But I'm really excited about that one. Like, oh my god. Hades and Persephone retellings or any Greek mythology retelling recommendations. I will eventually have a video coming up for Hades Persephone retellings when I find the best one, but I haven't been able to find the best one. So I don't really have any to recommend. Oh god. Cullen from Dragon Age or Fenris from Dragon Age. Who would I choose? I don't know. Oh god. It really depends. Like, who would I want to be around more? Probably Cullen, because Cullen's a good person. Oh god, I don't know. Oh no. But some of our ideologies are totally different. Fenris is an angry elf bean, but I don't feel like I would want to be around that very often. But I feel like we'd understand each other. Because, like, he has a temper that, like, fires off and then he's fine in 2 seconds, and I'm, like, pretty much the same way. So I don't know. Fenris is a lot. Fenris is a lot to deal with. He is a grumpy, moody, grumpy cat. So I feel like I would have to choose Cullen. But I'm very conflicted, obviously. Oh my god, please talk about Black Panther and Thick Daddy M'Baku. Okay, so first off, guys. So I saw Black Panther and, like, loved it, obviously, because it's a great movie. Because I couldn't see it before, like, 5 days ago. because I was so busy. So I saw Black Panther, and everybody is like so obsessed with like Killmonger, basically. People like T'Challa too, but like everyone was talking about Killmonger, whether they just liked him as a character, whether they liked his body, whatever. M'Baku, guys, like what a great character, okay? Like, first off, I just love that he's like a beast. Second, he's the best character. I mean, of the men, because let me tell you, let me go on a tangent for a second. The women's arms in this movie was what I was watching almost the entire time, because I was just like, I'm in love with you and I'm gonna be you. Like from the beginning. From the beginning, like all of the like warrior women and their wonderful muscled shoulders and biceps were just so like goals. This last year has brought me not only the Amazons and Wonder Woman, but now this. And I am like so blessed to be a weightlifter in this time because it makes me so happy. So yeah, the general whose name I'm like forgetting, which is horrible. She is like the best. And I love her. All the women are the best, but then M'Baku guy, I love him. I want him to be in all of the next movies ever, and I want him and T'Challa to be like unlikely bros. He is the best. I love him so much. Feelings about Children of Blood and Bone. So far, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, but I'm only at like the tail end. Thoughts about the upcoming Charmed reboot. So I have heard mutterings about this, but I haven't gone into it. But I'm also like really intrigued because it's a witch show and they're bringing back like witch stuff and they're rebooting things that I really liked. So I'm intrigued. I lift weights. Yes, I do lift weights. I actually have a Instagram that's like my personal Instagram that I talk about like makeup, skincare, hair stuff, food, weightlifting on. So that's linked down below, I think, as well. Favorite Game of Thrones character. Also, how do you choose? Currently, Sansa Stark. Brienne of Tarth Bay. I love Tyrion. Like, who doesn't? Who's the guy from season 4 that tragically died? That guy whose name I'm forgetting. Yeah, those are my favorites. Why have I not continued the series If You Like This and tried that with games and books? Because I haven't thought of a genre that works really well without repeating some of the same games I've already mentioned. So I have to play more games to recommend more things. Favorite Buffy storyline and least favorite Buffy storyline. My least favorite Buffy storyline is fucking Dawn and everything about her. I hate it. So that's probably my least favorite. My favorite is probably like any of the Angelus storylines. And like basically everything from season 2 and 3. Those are my favorite seasons. Oberyn, that's what I was talking about. My precious baby. And I was spoiled for that. I knew it was coming, and then I was like, oh my god, why? I am not going to BookCon. 1, because I don't have time. 2, because it's hella expensive. 3, because it's so stressful. BEA and BookCon are stressful and they're expensive, and I don't like the venue that BookCon and BEA take place in New York. If they start, because every like 5 years they'll move BEA and BookCon around to different parts of the country. So when it was in Chicago, it was hype and I loved it. So if they start moving it around, like maybe I'll go every 5 years and they move it around. It's too crammed in there. It's a mess, and I don't like it. I don't like it. So it's not fun and it's overwhelming. And I'm trying to like decrease the books on my shelves and my TBR, so I don't need to go to BEA and BookCon and fight hundreds of people for an arc of a book that's going to come out in a few months anyway. And I can get it then if I really want it. It creates this like level of hype and lemming, like you need it when you don't. You don't. So it's a lot. So I like going for like hanging out with friends, but now there's other conventions that I can hang out with friends at. There's Y'all Fest. There's BookNet Fest, which is the convention that I created that is coming up again in September. That's all about hanging out with other people in the book community. So I can do those and not be stressed out and not run myself broke and not bring home more books than I need and all of that. That's my opinion on BookCon and BEA. Ooh, can you recommend books like Interstellar with high sci-fi? I am not a big fan of like hard sci-fi. You probably would I liked Interstellar. I like hard sci-fi movies, but books that it it gets a little too muddled for me. You probably like the Three Body Problem by Six and Liu. So yeah, there's plenty of people that read hard sci-fi that you could get recommendations from, because I am not one of those people. Obsidio and Restore Me, which book are you more interested to read first? Probably Obsidio, because I can just read Obsidio. Restore Me, I'm going to go back and reread Shatter Me, which is why I haven't read it yet, because I don't have time. So I kind of want to read Obsidio first, and I'm more excited about that because Restore Me is going to be like a time commitment with everything else. Do you watch Supernatural? No, because I have not been into that level of paranormal stuff, and it has like way too many seasons now. I know it's good. I know. I don't really have an interest in it. Do you watch Steven Universe? No, but my friend does. And I watch a lot of videos fandom related around Steven Universe, because a channel that I follow that's all about shipping. It's Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy, if you're interested. She does really great videos on fandom and ships and stuff. She talks about them, so I'll like watch those videos because I like her videos, but I don't actually watch the show. Have you read any of the Game of Thrones books? No, and I don't plan to at this point. I was always going to read them at some point, and now I'm like, I have the show and I'm totally content with the show. Unless the show ending like really fucks up in a way that I'm not okay with, and then I might try to go and read the books, you know? But at this point, he's also not even like, when is he finishing them? I don't know. I just, can you recommend TV shows similar to This Is Us? I have not watched This Is Us, so I can't, but maybe somebody else can. How are the BookTube SFF awards going for you? They're going well in the way of when I have time to read the books for them I have, but I don't always have the time. So I feel like I'm behind, and it makes me super nervous. I'm going to read a lot of the books on audio. Thankfully, I have an Audible and a Libby subscription, so I can, well, Libby's not a subscription, but like I can do that. But I'm very nervous because I have not had time. The next book I need to read probably after I finish Children of Blood and Bone is Strange the Dreamer, for that specifically. Yeah. I'm scared. Help me. So hopefully I can get through before, because I really want to read all of them. I just haven't time. Oh my God, it makes me so nervous. Do you see yourself reading more adult books than YA? Just in general, yes. I prefer adult books right now, but there's also a lot of really good YA coming out like this year. So last year and the year before were kind of like a slump for me in YA, because they like the stuff that was coming out I wasn't really loving, with a few exceptions. And there's starting to be some like really good stuff coming out. So I'm kind of like 50-50 right now. Have you ever watched True Detective? I have not. Which Buffy anti-hero do you prefer most, Angel or Spike? Spike. Because Angel isn't really like an anti-hero unless he's being like Angelus, and then he's actually just a villain. So Angel's actually like a hero archetype, mostly. He has his moments. Spike's like an actual anti-hero, so I love him. Are you planning on reading To Kill a Kingdom? Yes. I'm torn on it. I saw the author at Nova Teen Book Festival a couple weeks ago, so I'm intrigued, but I'm also like, I don't have time. No. So I'm intrigued, but I also have heard mixed reviews for it. So it's like, do I want to? Should I? Favorite audiobooks? The Night Circus, The Golem and the Jinny. The Darker Shade of Magic books are pretty good. Like, if you, because I don't love the Darker Shade of Magic books, but if you like want to read them and get through them, they're pretty good. The Magicians series is really good on audio. American Gods is really good on audio. Favorite type of food? Man, I don't have one favorite type. Not at all. I think my two favorite, like, I almost said like genres of food, but yeah, two favorite like cuisines are probably like Mexican and Asian. Any of them, like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, like all of it. All of the. That's why I'm saying Asian, because it's all of them. It's not just one. All of them. And then like vegetarian, vegan foods too are like my jam. Like people making substitutions for things and making them vegetarian, vegan are really good. And I've also been really into salads lately, which is bizarre world, because I never used to be. So I do listen to podcasts. Okay, listen. So let me pull up like my podcast thing so I don't forget any of them. I love podcasts recently, which means I haven't listened to audiobooks, which is really bad. So my favorites right now are definitely Book Riot. I like listen to all the time. Book Riot and Annotated. They're both a Book Riot podcast. Then I listened to a couple of like fitness ones. So Empowered by Iron is all about like lady weightlifting, which is really fun. The Dumbbells is run by dudes, so it's one of the few that I listen to that's run by guys. But it's two comedians that talk about like fitness, so that's fun. And then Well Fed Women is a fitness nutrition one that I like. And then my two favorites right now are like beauty, lifestyle, self care ones. And one is Forever 35, and one is Full Coverage, and they are amazing. So I highly recommend. I listen to more like lifestyle podcasts and more like unscripted, people just talking and like doing interviews and stuff, and not so much like fiction ones or like overly sciencey, I guess. So yeah. What is the last book you won on Goodreads? I've never won something on Goodreads. So a podcast just started randomly playing, so that's funny. What's your favorite childhood superhero TV show? Childhood superhero TV show. I watched Power Rangers all the time as a child. All the time. I had a Power Rangers pillowcase. It was great. It was blue. Are you into K-pop? I've listened to like one K-pop song because it's a hole that you go down and you never come back from. So I can't. It's going so fast. Okay. Dora the Grisha trilogy. Any recommendation for books with similar vibes? It depends on what you're looking for, vibe-wise, from the Grisha trilogy. Like, what about the Grisha trilogy are you liking? Like the Eastern European inspired stuff, because that's like Deathless by Catherine Valente and like The Bear and the Nightingale, or are you liking something else about it? Favorite not American / English writer. I honestly don't even know where half these people live sometimes, so that's tough. And a lot of people that I read also are like immigrants to America, so like, do they not count? So I don't know off the top of my head who I would choose for that. I read a lot of American and British writers. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. But yeah. Did you ever watch the 90s Superman show, Lewis and Clark or Smallville? I didn't watch any of those. It's going so fast. Okay. Yeah, Children of Blood and Bone did give me Grisha vibes as well because of like the Magi and stuff, but I wasn't sure if that was what was being asked about or if it's like the mythology or whatever. How do you get out of a reading slump? I would say don't fight it, and instead of trying to force yourself to read something, go and do another hobby, because that's when I've then come back to reading like happier, instead of what I'm forcing myself to read and I don't want to. And read something like really fluffy, and don't try to read like your next favorite book. Like, just try to read something that you think is going to be like a 3-star, you know, and then just to like get yourself through it instead of trying to like force yourself to read something. Like, say, makeup question: if I use BB cream, should I put concealer on before or after? After. I personally, that's what I do, and that's what I feel like a lot of people do. So you put your base on, and then you'll see what really needs concealing, and you can put concealer on after that, instead of over concealing yourself, maybe some of it rubbing off when you put on BB cream or whatever. Dogs or cats? Both. They're both great for different reasons. Do you watch anime? I have in the past. I don't currently. I used to watch Bleach. I used to watch Tenchi in Tokyo and Tenchi Universe. I used to watch the old Sailor Moon. I used to watch Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, those are the major ones. There's another one I'm forgetting, but I used to watch a lot of them. Are you playing any video games at the moment? No, not actively. I'm always in a replay of Mass Effect, like always. So I'm like 75% of the way into like my 3rd or 4th replay of Mass Effect 1, because I'm going to play through the whole trilogy because I love my children. And then I'm also like sort of playing Final Fantasy 15, but it's been like over a month since I played it. So, are you into Disney? Yes. I mean, who isn't into Disney? I love it. Okay. Have you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra? I have started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I haven't gotten far enough into it. It's one of my like after grad school things. I haven't watched Naruto. I haven't watched a lot of the you know how anime is broken into like guy anime and girl anime? I haven't watched a lot of the ones that like are technically geared towards guys, like the Dragon Ball Z and everything else. Again, I know I could watch it. It's just not something that like appeals to me, you know, a ton. So How do you read a lot with your busy schedule? Here's the thing. I don't. I've only read like 2 books this month, and next month is going to be worse than that. So I don't read a lot with my busy schedule, and I will go days without reading. What ends up happening sometimes is when I do get some time, I will like binge read and read for like a couple hours on end, but just because it's a thing that I can film or like fit in. So yeah, I don't read a lot. But I just make time for it when I can. So what inspired you to start a booktube channel? I really liked watching beauty gurus, and I still do. I think I watch more beauty videos than I watch booktube videos at this point right now. Just because I found some new beauty gurus. Okay, so I split my time between food channels, workout channels, beauty videos, and booktube. So that's my 4 corners of the pie. But back then I was always watching beauty videos, and I was like, I really want to like get into this kind of like online community, but I don't know enough about like makeup to do that, and it's not really the scene that I want to get into. And then I found like Little Book Owl, I think, like Kaz, and I forget who else, maybe Kat, and a couple other people, and I was like, I can do this. I'm gonna do this. I did do this, so that's what I do now. Just recently watched your old video with your dude. Like, we get to see him ever again. Yes, at some point. I'm sure we'll film again at some point, but he doesn't like read a lot. So it's hard to do some of these like reading book videos because it's like he doesn't read. And a lot of them I've done with Amanda. So I don't want to like redo them with him. Who are the new beauty gurus that you watch and some of your favorite beauty channels people are asking about? Again, they're not necessarily like new people, but they're people that I've fairly recently discovered. So like Jamie Page, Alana Davidson. I've been watching Sam Randval, I think her name is, for like years, and I love her. She used to be Battle Ash. She's like probably my favorite. I really like Mears and Hayes. She's great. I like, who's some of the other ones? There's a couple that I just recently got rid of. I like Jaclyn Hill. People don't. I like her. I've watched her for a long time now too. I watch Gothamista. She's a skincare person. I really like that. Do you think BookTube is critical enough of the content it promotes? So here's what's really funny about that kind of question. When you generalize BookTube like that, it just creates like a false narrative, sort of. Like, who are you talking about when you're BookTube? Talk about the top like 5 people of BookTube that like have the most viewers, or are you talking about BookTube as a whole? Because BookTube as a whole is pretty critical of the things it reads, and like BookTube, I mean, there's so many different channels. Like, obviously you're going to have more critical channels, you're going to have less critical channels, you're going to have people having different barriers for what's critical and what's not. There's different communities within the BookTube community. So like, you know, there's more SFF people that read more adult, people that read more literary. Like, so who are you referring to? So I think overall, if you combine all of those, yes, they're fairly critical of what they're reading. If you're aiming at a certain community within BookTube, then that's going to have individual answers depending on who you're referring to. But I really kind of hate when people generalize and they're like, BookTube does this thing. Everyone's BookTube experience is different because who everyone subscribes to is different. So even if the top 5 to 10 people are doing something, it doesn't mean that all of us are subscribed to the top 5 to 10 people that are doing something. So it's not indicative of like all of BookTube. It's really hard to ask those kind of like questions for like the whole community. You know what I mean? I do not watch Tati. I've never really been into her, honestly. I've tried to, and sometimes some of her stuff will pop up, but like, favorite YA contemporary that tackles the topic of grief? Anything by Jandy Nelson. She does grief the best. She is the queen. Do you read comics, and have you read Saga and Rat Queens? Yes and yes. My favorite is Monstrous, and my other favorite is Descender, I would say right now. So those are my favorite. I do watch Stephanie Nicole videos sometimes. She's another beauty guru type person, but she has really long videos, and she doesn't have a similar aesthetic. Recently, I've been watching people, like Lisa Eldridge is one of my favorites. Like, I've been watching a lot of people who do more like, who can do natural or super like glam. Jessica Jones second season. Have you watched it? I haven't even finished the first season yet. Why? Because I don't have time. Yeah, so I started watching the first season of Jessica Jones when I was sick, like a couple of years ago when I had cancer. So I was watching it then, and then I just stopped, I think like a couple episodes from the end of it, and I caught up on a couple of them over Christmas break this Christmas, And I think I have like 1 or 2 left, and I haven't had time to finish it, but I will at some point. Do you ship Zutara? Since I haven't technically watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, no, I can't say that I like for sure ship it, but like I do. I like the fandom stuff. Like I know that it's my shit, obviously. So, um, do do do. What do you think of historical YA books? And have you read Salt to the Sea? I have not read Sea, but I've read Ruta Sepetys' other book. Didn't really love it. It was on audio. Wasn't my favorite, but I like historical YA books just fine. There's a lot of questions. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh, this is fun. If you had to ship one Buffy character and one Game of Thrones character, who would it be? I think it would be Yara, because that's my wife. I'm pretty sure that's her name, because I'm actually forgetting, but I'm pretty sure. And Faith. Yeah, they're basically the same person, sort of in like different, worlds, but like take over the world together, please. Redemption arcs, yay or nay? Do you even know me? Of course. Yes, yay. Do you ship Buffy and Faith at all? Yes. Yes. I forget about them like sometimes, but yeah, when they were like really hating one another, but also loving one another. And that episode when they were like dancing together at the bronze. Yeah. Stuff happened with them, okay? I don't watch The Walking Dead, so I don't have any opinions about characters on The Walking Dead. Do you have a character that you strongly relate to, like one who would basically be your twin? I don't know, because there's plenty of characters I really like and that I love, and they're my favorites, but I don't know if there's any characters that I'm like, that person is me. There's a lot of people that I want to be like, but yeah, there's not necessarily any that I can think of. What memoirs do you recommend? I haven't read any memoirs. I want to get into them at some point. I'll probably listen to an audiobook, but I haven't gotten into any of them. Favorite book to TV adaptation? So one of my favorite shows that I've never read the actual books for is The Vampire Diaries. So I would probably say that one, but they're not like the books, and I've never read the books, but I know that they're not like the books. So if you wrote a book, what genre would you write? Fantasy. Obviously, it's what I know the best. Claraline. If you're asking my favorite of those two, definitely Claraline. Who would you ship the Darkling with if you could pick a character from any other book or series? I want someone who would absolutely destroy him. Tough call. I'm trying to think of like, who would just wreck his entire life? I know it has to be somebody from probably like an adult series. I don't know, man. I need someone that's gonna like completely, that he can't manipulate, and that he would like, that would destroy him. I actually want to say like one of my Inquisitors from Dragon Age, but like you guys don't technically know that character because it's a character that you create yourself. But I'm also like that one, or even like female Hawk, like yeah, someone who would destroy him. Have you ever read a book where you felt like, wow, this is me, or even just had really good ace rep? One of the books that I feel like what I remember like reading a character that's like, this character says that they're asexual, and oh my god, I've never had this happen before, is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. So that's the one that sticks out to me. Would you prefer to have a pet dragon or be a dragon? Well, is it one of those dragons where like they can turn into humans? Because in that case, I almost want to be a dragon. But if it's a dragon that stays a dragon all the time, then I'd rather have a pet dragon. So, what's your all-time OTP out of all OTPs? They're guessing that it's Juliet and Warner. It's not Juliet and Warner. Oh god, the crowning OTP is probably Shakarian, which is Shepard and Garrus from Mass Effect. I think is probably like the apex of my OTPs at this point. But I think like Alina and the Darkling come very close. I think Hermione comes very close. I was gonna say Kelsey from The Queen of the Tearling and the Darkling, maybe, but like I haven't read book 3 yet. But I also feel like she doesn't have the abilities necessarily to like make sure he stays in line. So you need somebody who's like super hella powerful and can destroy him, you know? You know? Favorite Disney Channel original movie of all time that's not High School Musical. Funny story, I've never seen High School Musical, so I would never pick that one. I like a lot of the old originals. Probably Xenon. Xenon, Smart House, I was a big fan of. 13th Year, The Luck of the Irish, Johnny Tsunami. The ones I remember the most. So yeah, I would never pick High School Musical because I haven't seen it. What's the last audiobook that you loved? Probably A Conjuring of Light, which is like so crazy. But before that, no, I didn't love that one as much as some of the other ones that I've listened to. So I loved the Raven Boys audiobooks. Those were really good. Raven King and Blue Lily are the ones I listened to the most. Or the ones like I didn't listen to the first 2 on audiobook, I listened to those 2. And Station 11 was really good. Hardback or paperback? Paperback, as long as they're floppy. Well, favorite type of item besides the book to get in a book box? Bookish candles. They're my favorite. Think about a male love interest for the Darkling. That would be interesting. Oh, who would just completely... Oh, Quoth. Because Quoth would annoy the shit out of the Darkling and it'd be great. And Quoth is powerful too. But yeah, that'd be fun. Or like Alabaster from the Broken Earth series. That'd be fun too. Because again, he would mess him up and just be like, I hate you. It would be really funny. I think those 2 would be really good. Who would be like a dark cranky pants that could go with him though too? Alabaster's a dark cranky pants. He hates the world. So I think that would work actually really well. Yeah, him or Quoth. Somebody who would like annoy him. Or like Quentin from like The Magicians or something. Favorite Disney Channel show of all time. I didn't watch a lot of the Disney TV shows. Was like Proud Family on Disney. I watched like Proud Family, Even Stevens, and like one other one that was like, oh, the Hillary Duff show, or like the last ones that I watched. So, what about Daenerys and the Darkling? Yeah, I don't know. I just still don't feel like Daenerys. I don't know if that would work. But I'm okay with that. Okay. Quoth is from The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, for someone that's asking. I have read Cruel Beauty, and it does have Hades Persephone. It's sort of like Hades Persephone, Beauty and the Beast, and that's the problem with like a lot of retellings and stuff, is that they're kind of a mix of both. So you can't really find, I mean, you can find them, but whenever I'm doing like recommendations, it's kind of like this book is kind of a mix of Hades Persephone, Beauty and the Beast, and like Death and the Maiden, and blah, blah, like because they're all blended together. Do you like The Witcher? Yes, I love The Witcher. I wish another Witcher series or another Witcher game would get announced, but they have to finish Cyberpunk first, and Cyberpunk's gonna be bomb. So good. Favorite contemporary OTPs? Oh man, I want to say one's like a spoiler, so I can't. But there's a parent of somebody in the not The Sky Is Everywhere, the other one. It was the Jenny Nelson book. Where are you? Where are you? Hold on. I will tell you. I'll give you the son. The mom and the other person I shipped very hard. And then I really like Aristotle and Dante. I really like the ones from The Sky Is Everywhere. I'm not remembering any of their names because I don't remember contemporary characters like at all, honestly. Which is part of the reason why I don't read that much, because they leave my brain right after. Dimple and Rishi are really great. Amy and Roger. But yeah, like I forget most of them. Are you hyped for Spinning Silver? Yes, I am hyped. How do you feel about necromancers in books? I like them. They are really fun. There's a Roswell reboot? Like, what are all these 90s reboots happening? I'm so confused. It's a good time for it, though. But, like, what? Most disappointing TV show. I would say most disappointing. Once Upon a Time, probably. That fell off the train tracks real hard. And True Blood fell off real hard. But I love True Blood. I love it. And I watched it till the end. But, like, oh, man. Did you ever play any online MMORPGs? I've played Elder Scrolls Online. I haven't played any of like the Warcraft or anything like that because I know that I would get sucked in and it would be bad. It'd be bad. Favorite currently underrated TV show. I don't watch any TV like really, so like I don't really have anything that's like underrated. I don't watch TV like at all. Like, at all. Have you watched American Horror Story? No, because I'm a big baby. And I get scared. So I won't. I want to watch Coven kind of, but like I can't watch scary stuff, okay? And everyone's gonna be like, it's not scary. It is. Okay, it's literally called American Horror Story. It's a horror show. I'm not gonna watch it. Do you have a favorite supporting character who you think deserves their own series? Well, it used to be Nikolai, but he's getting his own series, so I have a lot of favorite supporting characters that I feel like could have their whole own series. I would love to see a whole like McGonagall series. I would love so many, honestly, characters that would have like their own series, but I'm I'm literally thinking of all these characters, and I'm like, basically any of my favorite books, if the side characters I talk about could have their own series, then I would appreciate that. Favorite makeup brand? I don't have a ton of like brand loyalty, but some of my favorites, me just looking over there, I like Anastasia for their eyebrow stuff, obviously, and their lip products. I like Lancome recently for lip products. Like, oh my god, this thing I'm wearing right now was one of their like lip oils, and I love it. I like Becca for highlighters. I like Kat Von D for lip products and palettes a lot. I like Urban Decay for like their concealer. I like my whole face is a mix of different brands, so I don't have like brand loyalty. Do you like interactive choose your own adventure style games? Yes. Favorite thing about being a Slytherin? Are like a superior fashion sense. No, I like that Slytherins are defined by ambition, and people always confuse Slytherins with like they're mean. They're ambitious, and I like that about Slytherins. Why the long nails? I love them. They're fun for me, and they send a message. You know, like people see these, and they're told something, you know, that these are semi-threatening, and that's the message I want to send. Semi-threatening, but also beautiful. Ding! That's the message. Underhyped YA books that you think should get more recognition. The Girl of Fire and Thorn series by Ray Carson is the best. I mean, there's a lot of books like is anything underhyped on like BookTube? Like, there's someone hyping something everywhere. The Abhorsen series is a really popular series, but I feel like doesn't get a lot of talk on BookTube, but it gets a lot of talk outside of BookTube. So is it underhyped? Probably not really. The Archive series by Victoria Schwab, again, known on BookTube, but not really talked about. Meh. Tips on staying productive. I do watch Jay Kissa, by the way. Tips on staying productive. I like to set timers for stuff, and if you have a lot to do and you can't stay necessarily focused on one, you find yourself like checking your phone all the time or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buckle down and do this particular thing, whatever it is, for like 15 minutes, half an hour, and then you set a timer. And then if you can keep going after that timer goes off, great. If you need to take a break, then you do. Then you set a timer for like 15 minutes, and you can fuck around and do whatever for that 15 minutes, and then you start again. And that gets me through a lot of things. Do you have trouble doing sports with those nails? No. I weightlift, so I am always picking up heavy weights and putting weight on barbells and whatever, and I'm fine because I've adapted to them. When I first got them, I was like, these are gonna fall off, but they haven't. So, how's your TBR reading catch up going? It's not, because I haven't been able to read at the rate that I need to like really get rid of this. It hasn't been going very well. Thankfully, all the books that I'm reading on audio, I'm trying to have be books that I already own so that they're dwindling that way a little bit, or at least I'm staying at like stable. But this needs to be going faster than it is, and I can't even focus on it right now because of school. But when I'm back down to just one class, it might start picking up again. And when it's like I'm done with class and done with school completely, then I can definitely focus on it. Tips on getting started with lifting. So I started lifting because I was checking out subreddits on Reddit. If you guys don't use Reddit, then it's probably safer that way. But it's a social media sort of online platform. And it has stuff kind of broken into forums almost. And so I learned a lot from the fitness Reddit and then the XX fitness Reddit, which is like the female fitness stuff. So I learned a lot on there. There's obviously a ton of YouTube videos as well. But I just got started. I chose a beginner program and I follow programs. Like and they're free. Don't buy a program from anybody. Good God. You don't need to go to a trainer necessarily if you don't want to, if you don't have the money. I've never been to a trainer. I'd like to be a trainer now that I'm more like intermediate. But I don't go to a trainer, and I follow free available weightlifting programs that are like tested and work. I started with starting strength. I've done starting strength. I've done strong lifts. Right now I'm doing, oh gosh, what is it called? Gray Skull LP, I think is what it is, because it's a full body barbell. I've done PPLs before. I've done PHUL. I want to go back to a PPL or PHUL when I have more time, because that's when you go to the gym like 4 to 6 days a week. And right now I only go to the gym 3 days a week on my full body barbell weightlifting. So yeah, but I started with like starting strength. But look up some of those programs, and all of those programs are listed in like the fitness subreddit is what it's called, like sidebar. And so you can see all of them that are like recommended and like tested and lifted and like, work. So, what is your dream job? Well, I'm studying to be a social worker, so I'd like to be a therapist. I like to be a therapist that specializes in oncology or in medical trauma. So dealing with people who are sick or have been sick and have like trauma and stuff from that. So I want to do that. I also would like to run or be specialized in like young adult oncology specifically. So 18 to 39. I would love to do like programs for that. But I would like to do some kind of individual clinical piece. Do you count calories? That's related to weightlifting. I do, but I'm not super strict about it. I'm strict, like if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat, but it's gotten me, I've been counting calories for a little while now, and it's gotten me better about like being aware of the kind of stuff I'm putting in my body and how much and how big serving sizes are and how certain foods fill you up more. Certain foods are better for you. Certain foods make you feel better. I pay more attention to like my macros kind of. So that's macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And I specifically try to get as much protein as I can. So that's what I do mostly for weightlifting. So I'm not super like anal about it or like, try to like feel guilty and stuff, because that's a rabbit hole you can go down that can be really dangerous for some people. But I do it more so that I'm not overeating, because even like a couple of years ago, if you watch my videos, you can see like my weight fluctuation a little bit. I was eating. So I used to have this meal all the time that was delicious. But it was like a homemade cream sauce pasta with like mushrooms. I made like a sherry sauce, garlic, all this cheese, all this good stuff in it. And it was like a bowl, but it was like a normal, like a bowl like this big, right? When I started counting calories, calculated the calories for that. And it was like 1,000 calories. And that's in one meal. So I just wasn't aware of what was going in my body. So that's been really helpful. I'm trying to... What would be your next pet? Probably another dog, but we're not going to get any pets for a long time. Favorite junk food? Oh, man. I really love... So Oreos has cookie butter Oreos. They're limited edition. I don't know if you can get them anymore. They're delicious. So I prefer cookies to any other kind of like sweet treat. Like those frosted cookies that in America, at least, you can get at like almost every single grocery store. And they're usually themed with whatever holiday is coming up soon. They are so good. They're so good. I love them. I also really love popcorn. And popcorn doesn't have to be junky, but it can be junky. I love that a lot. Creme brulee is my favorite fancy dessert. I also really like cheesecake. Those are probably some of my favorite like junk foods. Carby stuff. Twix is like my favorite candy. Thoughts on people who don't respect they, them pronouns. You're being a douche if you don't respect they, them pronouns. They, them is a pronoun that you can use for literally anybody, and it's part of the English language, and it's even allowed in like APA formatting for grammar. So like, why be a dick? It's not necessary. Did you decide what you want to do based on your own illness, or was it something you wanted to do anyway? I was always going to be a social worker. My specialty is because of my own experiences, but I was always going to be a social worker. What would you do if Buffy was remade? I would be terrified, because I don't think you could remake that successfully. It was so like of its time and the perfect storm kind of thing. I would probably watch it, but I would be so skeptical. So skeptical. Oh my God. Do you plan to continue with the Captive Prince trilogy? I'm undecided because to this day, still the fandom that's anti and the fandom that loves it are so extra that you can't literally neither side allows you to have an opinion other than their own. And so I don't really want to hear it. I don't want to deal with it. So until everyone calms the F down about that series, I'm just gonna not because of other things that I can read, and I'm totally fine with that. Do you have any BookTube related goals this year? Nothing besides BookNet Fest. So that's my biggest BookTube related goal. I don't really set BookTube related goals. I don't set subscriber goals. I never have. Again, I've said this before on my channel, but I was like, if I ever get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be happy and that's cool. So like anything above and beyond that is just like, that's great. I just always want to have like a really positive community and be an active part of it and be like a positive part of it. But otherwise, like I don't have any BookTube goals. Do you drink tea and what kind is your favorite? I have drank tea before. I prefer like rooibos tea and I've gotten mine from Adagio. So that's some of my favorite. And sometimes I forget about tea. I also like PG Tips because Sarah Jane sent me some. I think it's just like your normal like British breakfast probably. And it's really good. So I like that. My family calls those cookies cocaine cookies, which is so true. How do you balance going to the gym with your schedule? I work full time and go to grad school and I feel like I don't have time for anything. Yeah, I hear you. I only go 3 days a week and I do a full body routine there. I've worked out how long it takes me and I now go to the gym in the morning, which is something I would have never thought I could do even as of like 3 months ago. But as of like the end of January, I started going in the morning. It's the first thing I do in the day and then it's done. I used to go like at night. I used to go at random times during the day whenever I could fit it in. Now I go in the morning. It's the first thing that I do and I wake up early enough to do it. And it's been working out wonderfully. And then I feel good the rest of the day. I don't worry about like, oh, I'm going to have to cancel it. Oh, I'm too hungry and I can't go now. Like that's when I go. I listen to like an audiobook or something. And I'm usually only there for like an hour, anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half. And obviously, if you don't do the same kind of routine, you could cut that down. But that's when I go and I prioritize it. It makes me feel better. And it makes me happy. So I prioritize it. I really like your hair. I've always wanted to cut my hair really short. My mom says I look too much like a boy. Hair doesn't have gender. Any tips to sway her to let me? You could probably look at pictures of like really feminine girls with a short haircut. There's a lot of is something pixies. If you look up like pixie haircuts or whatever on Instagram, there's a lot of like pixie haircut. I'm trying to like talk and think of what I'm trying to say. Like pixie haircut accounts that post pictures of people with pixie cuts. And if you find a bunch of like these girls blatantly look like girls, then you might be able to convince her. How do you cope with difficult cases doing social work? We have supervision, so that's where you like talk with the supervisor like at a regular time every week, or we do group supervision. So you'll talk with like a bunch of colleagues about cases and you don't reveal like names or anything, but you're like, hey, I have this case, blah, blah, blah. And you bounce off stuff and you debrief that way. So that's how I deal with difficult cases because otherwise it'd be incredibly hard. So it's good to have other people to talk to and bounce stuff off of and everything. Do you drink alcohol and favorite drink? I drink very, 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 very occasionally, like 3 times a year, maybe. I used to drink a lot more when I was younger, as most people tend to. My favorite drink is gin and tonic. I also like wine sometimes, but I'm not like somebody who can drink like all multiple glasses of wine. I don't drink with like dinner or anything, so it's not something that I like pair with food or whatever. If I'm going to drink and like go out, I'm going to have a gin and tonic. Do you write? I don't. I don't really have any desire to. I have story ideas, but I don't really see myself ever writing. Do you have a favorite anime or anime movie? Again, I talked about like some of the animes I used to watch. Probably like Bleach and the Tenshis were my favorite. Any update on Sarah Jane coming to the United States? Are y'all close to your fundraising goals? She is closer than we ever thought that she would get, but still like it's not for sure. She has enough that I think she said recently she has enough that she could afford a room, but she needs to be able to afford the plane ticket too. So I will leave links in the description for that fundraiser. But Sarah Jane is a fellow booktuber and she is my very, very best booktube friend. And I've done videos like where we've done like read-alongs. We did a whole like candy exchange over Christmas. We've been friends for like 4 years. We literally talk every day. and she is amazing and one of my closest friends. We met through BookTube and we've never met in real life. So she's trying to come to BookNet Fest. She has a fundraiser going for it because she is disabled, so there are extra expenses to having to come. And we really want to meet this year because it needs to happen. Like, we've been through so much. Obviously, I got sick. I'm not being like extra when I'm saying like I almost died. So like we are like anything could happen basically. So we want to meet because anything could happen at any time. So hopefully that'll happen. If you guys want to donate, obviously it's not required, but if you want to donate, we have posted things on my Twitter and her Twitter and stuff. So yeah. So would you like to come and see Sarah Jane and do a UK tour? I would love that. We talked about like in the future, like after hopefully this United States trip happens for her in a couple of years, hopefully I'll be able to go to the UK, be able to afford that. And then like go see her and go to like Scotland, Wales, Ireland. I'd like to do like a whole kind of tour of the area and stuff. I wanted to go to Scotland and Ireland for a long time. So that would be really fun. Do you believe in aliens? Yes. I hope they're real. Have you read any cool graphic novels lately? No new ones. I have to read a couple for the BookTube SFF Awards that I hope that I really like. So we'll see what happens with that. Thoughts on Toys R Us closing its doors for good? I don't have any thoughts about that. Toys R Us is really expensive. And I never really went to Toys R Us as a kid because my mom was like, it's too expensive. So do you consider yourself a nerd or a geek? And how do you feel about these labels? I feel like they're used more than ever before. I kind of feel like they've been like reclaimed. But yeah, I feel like I always say that I have like nerdy hobbies. So yeah, but I don't think they're really insults anymore like they used to be. Maybe they are for kids still. I don't know. I will provide Scottish accommodation for free. Well, thank you. But yeah, I'll let you guys know if I ever come to the UK, which again will be in years. But I will definitely be going around. It'll be a lot of fun, hopefully. Do you plan to live in the United States for the rest of your life? I wouldn't put it out of the question to go somewhere else, but I just don't see it happening because it'd be so hard to move internationally. I've moved a lot within the United States, but international moves, like, oh man. But sometimes I think about it, like, wouldn't it be great to live in Europe and not here? But like realistically speaking, I don't know if that would happen. I would try to stalk you if you came to Scotland and not creepy. I would want to do like a hangout. I think that'd be fun. I would definitely like let you guys know if I was coming. Any Asian country you want to visit? Korea. And I'd like to go to Japan, obviously, like Tokyo. I wouldn't mind China either, but I just like, wouldn't even know where to go. I feel like China's so big. But definitely, I feel like the priorities would be like South Korea and like Tokyo, basically. Well, some of the other places in Japan too, like Japan in general. Do you speak another language? I can sort of understand Spanish. I took like 4 years of Spanish. I'm one of those people. I don't really use it, so I don't really know a lot about it. Favorite angsty couple? I don't have a favorite, man. There's so many. I've done videos on like all of them. Do you get your nails done often? And you like the colors I choose? Thank you. I get them done like every 3 weeks, so it's not super bad. Oh man, okay. What faction did or do you play in War Machine, and who is your warcaster? So my faction was Signar, and I always did Kane, Epic Kane 2. I wanted to start experimenting with other ones, but Kane's so good. For those of you that don't know, like with this game, you have warcasters and stuff, and they each have like different abilities, and Kane is like a gunslinger, so he can do all this like gun stuff, and it's so great. I love him. He's my favorite. But if you could move to Europe, where would you live? Well, since I don't speak other languages, I could learn them. But since I don't speak other languages right now, I would probably live in like the UK somewhere. Like I'd live in like Britain, Wales, Scotland. Even though like I would probably like to learn those languages. I guess, you know, like somewhere that speaks English as like the main language probably. So it would probably be Britain or like Ireland or something. Where I could succeed fairly easily and not be like, I don't know these languages. So, oops. What adult sci-fi would you recommend for a newbie? I think the Expanse series is like really easy to get into. I think the Becky Chambers books, the like Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, it's like really easy to get into for adult sci-fi. What was the best magic system that you've read about? I really like the Broken Earth Erosiony is how you say it. Erosiony. I really like the like Mistborn. I like Brandon Sanderson's are really good, obviously. Like obviously. I also really like the Magicians ones because the Magicians ones are really hard. And they have to study and it's like really, really difficult. So those are really cool. Have you read any Peter F. Hamilton? And if you did, what do you think about his books? I have not read any Peter F. Hamilton. Um, um, are you excited about Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald? I am. I'm cautiously optimistic. I was very like, oh, I don't know. And then I saw the trailer and I was like really excited. I really like the adult like magic world. I think I'm so excited to see that. And a lot of people are like, oh, I miss Harry. Oh, I miss all these characters. I'm like, I don't. Their story was told. I'm fine with it. And now we get to see like what it's like being an adult in this world, and, like the adult problems. And that makes me really excited. What are your thoughts on Brandon Sanderson and the homophobia claims? Man, you guys just want to like get into like deep topics right now. So here's the thing. Here's my personal feelings on the Brandon Sanderson homophobia thing. I think that it would be stupid to think that he didn't have some kind of issues with like LGBT based on his religion. I think the progress that he has made is awesome. I think that he's never done anything harmful in his books. If he was writing about, you know, like gay people being oppressed, killing off all of his gay characters, blah, 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 I'd have an issue. But I am able pretty well to separate the creator from the work. Some people can't, and if that's your decision, that's totally cool. But I'm able to do that, so I'm more okay with it. And he has shown tremendous progress, and I think not that we have to like, you know, it's not like, oh, he gets a cookie because he's better, like blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what I'm saying. But like, I think you have to give people a chance to grow, and to not give them a chance to grow is kind of stupid. So I think his growth and how well he is writing those characters and how he's including like the leaps and bounds that he's made, I think are excellent. I think a lot of people comment on it without really knowing much about it. They're just like, oh, Brandon Sanderson's a homophobe. And it's like, I don't think that's the situation. Like, I think that you're over exaggerating and that there are things on a spectrum, and people exist on a spectrum in general, just like with how people are, not even just LGBT stuff. Like everybody exists on the spectrum. Everybody has a different set of, you know, like morals and stuff. And it's not just like, oh, either you're on this side or you're on this side and there's no in between. Like that's not how humanity works. So have you ever played the Borderlands series? Yes. I played the first Borderlands game. I actually played it like a couch co-op with Gerald. And it was lots of fun. Then we stopped after that because you get to the end and you open thing and then it's like, it's done. No payoff whatsoever. Not sure if you answered this already, but are you planning on reading Restore Me? I will after I reread the whole Shatter Me series. So when I have time, which will be for a while. You missed my question multiple times. There's a lot of questions. I'm trying to keep up. I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on the recent passing of Stephen Hawking? It's obviously sad. I mean, that guy's a genius. I don't have a lot of opinions about Stephen Hawking. It's not like I've read a lot of his stuff, but like, it is definitely a loss for the like science community and everything. So, have you read To Kill a Mockingbird? I actually haven't. So that was one of the books that like usually everybody is forced to read in high school, and it was not on my curriculum. I was in all like AP classes, and I think the like normal classes read it, and then we read something else. We read a couple other, I can't even remember them, but like during that same segment, we were reading things that were different than that. We were reading some other books that dealt with like racism and stuff. So I don't remember what it was, but are you going to read any other Cassandra Clare books? Maybe, but it's not a high priority. Well, I don't feel comfortable doing reviews for Sanderson books. I find his thoughts inoffensive enough that I will read his books and separate him from the work. Yeah, like I review what I want to review and I read what I want to read. And I understand that some people can't. And that's why I will say sometimes, like, this is a thing about any author. And then you decide what you want to read. There's certain authors, or even like this extends to makeup and like brands and stuff. Like, there's a lot of discussion about that within like the makeup community as well, and like what's okay and what's not, and who will you support and who will you not, and where do you draw that line. And everyone's going to have a different drawing of that line. And I think it's really shitty when people are like, you don't think about things the same way that I do, so you're a bad person too. It's like, okay, like you can choose to read what you want to read and I can choose what I want to read, and neither person's a bad person because of that, you know? Like leave being a bad person to the people that we're talking about potentially, and not like throwing sticks at one another. Like it's unnecessary, and I feel like it's pretty immature, and it happens a lot. I don't know if this was brought up, but what are your thoughts on the Bardugo's new Nikolai series? Really excited. I'm basically only excited for like Nikolai and like Nina, and I'm going in with zero expectations. Zero. Because I'm happy regardless of what happens. Would you like to visit South America? Yes, I would like to. I would like to do a lot of traveling. That's one of the things that like I really, once I get done with grad school and I have a job and I know what my income in general is going to be, I would like to start like gathering money and saving money for regular travel, because that's not been something that I've been able to do before because of school or having like a really low paying job. And not that I'll have a super high paying job as a social worker, I won't, but I'll hopefully be able to make like a decent enough wage that I could have a, savings account. That'd be great. Is Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes a good book? I've done whole reviews on every single Fallen Kingdoms book, so check those out if you want my opinion. If you were stranded on desert island, what book would you take? The Night Circus. Who's your favorite author ever? Probably Erin Morgenstern, but she also hasn't written anything else. So I almost feel like I have to say like Leigh Bardugo because I read more by her. It's really hard to pick a favorite author. Any finished series you would like to see revived or Stormy style? Not really, because I don't really have any series that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want this. Like, I don't have a desire to have like epilogues the way a lot of people do. I don't have a desire to like, what's done is done, kind of, you know what I mean? So even though like I would love more, we're getting more Grisha books, but would I love the Grisha series to continue? It's a double-edged sword. So I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could be happy with any of that. Do you think there's a lack of asexual characters in books, movies, and TV shows? I mean, yes, because people still aren't like used to it. It's still like not a new thing, but like it's a new thing being discussed. So I think there are plenty of those kinds of characters, but it's not explicitly said that they're asexual. But there's plenty that you can headcanon as asexual, but not a lot that you can actually point to and be like, this character identified out loud as asexual. Have you read any Sean David Hutchison? I haven't, but I've been intrigued about him. I actually saw him also at Nova Teen Book Festival. Have you read any Khalid Hosseini books? No. Do you think Dumbledore is asexual or gay? Well, according to the author, he's gay. We can only really go on like what the author said. I feel like he does, like, if you were to ask me that without having JK say anything about him, I'd be like, you could headcanon him as ace. You could absolutely headcanon him as ace. I also think you could headcanon, I headcanon Newt as ace. So yeah, there's a lot of characters you can be like, they could be asexual because it's not explicitly said. Are there any authors that you do like as a person apart from their work? Kind of like the opposite. Their work isn't your favorite, but you respect them for some reason. I do. And I'm trying to think of some of those people. Recently, so I read The Bells by Donnell Clayton. It's a 3-star. I adore her though, because I saw her again at Nova Teen Book Festival. So I think that's an author who I like love, but I didn't love her first book, and it's just her first book. Well, I mean, she's wrote other books, but her first like standalone, I'm pretty sure, book. I really like Jennifer L. Armentrout. She's really funny. I don't love her stuff. Again, it's like 3 stars. I haven't seen a lot of other authors like in person to know kind of who I like. Like, there's plenty of authors I've seen speak on like panels and stuff that I'm like, oh, I like them, but like I don't love their stuff necessarily. I have not read any Claire North, but I have books from her that I want to read. How well do you keep up with series? It depends. Sometimes I will like binge read a series, and sometimes I won't. If I'm reading it like as they come out, I can keep up with them pretty well. But as far as like older series that I've started and all the books are out, sometimes those are harder for me. Because it's just like I have all the time in the world and I don't need to catch up on these because they're already out, and like I'm not going to get spoiled if I haven't already, and blah, blah, blah. Are you going to see Ready Player One? And did you read the book? I read the book. I was like, okay about the book. I think the movie's probably going to be better, but I don't have any compulsions to see it in theaters. I'll probably see it when it like comes out after. Love your makeup, by the way. What eyeshadow palette did you use? This is a mix of the Naked 2 from Urban Decay and the Jaclyn Hill palette. Any thoughts on the Solo movie trailer? So it's so funny because these like standalone things they're doing in like the Star Wars universe and on the off years of when the actual like trilogies are coming out, I'm not as hyped for them as I feel like I should be. I'm really cautiously optimistic about, not even optimistic, I'm not optimistic about the Solo movie. I'm nervous because I don't want them to make him into a badass because he's not. Han Solo is a giant nerd bucket, okay? So, like, don't make him, like, suave, because he's not. And then I don't want them to do any kind of, like, romance with him, because, like, what a waste. Because, obviously, you know who he ends up with. So, like, don't. And, yeah, but it's just so funny, because Gerald doesn't really like the Star Wars movies, like, any of them, but he's really excited about that one. And I was like, that's the one that I'm like, I'll see, obviously. It's Han Solo. But I'm not that excited about. It's so weird. I have not read Scythe. It's going too fast. It's good. I'm nervous. Have you watched the Star Trek movies? No. I have not read Obsidio yet. I don't even own it yet. Did you see The Shape of Water? Yes, I really liked it. It's not a movie that I can see myself like rewatching over and over again, but it was like really cute and like warm fuzzies. What made you go into social work? So I double majored in undergrad for psych and social work, and I plan on going into psych, but you really can't get a lot of jobs in the psychology field right out of undergrad. So I got into social work, and I've stayed there, and I really like it, and I'm really good at it. So it just kind of was one of those things that I fell into. Favorite Star Wars movie? Probably a tie between The Empire Strikes Back and The Last Jedi. I know. Favorite YA books with diverse protagonists or side characters? YA specifically? Man. I mean, a lot of, see, when you say it as side characters, a lot of YA books have diverse side characters. Not necessarily all of them have diverse protagonists. But like the Infernal Devices has, well, I guess, would you consider Jem a protagonist? Because we're sort of all protagonists in that. So I would say that one. I would say the Truth Witch books. I would say Daughter Smoke and Bone, because Akiva is a person of color. Obviously Six of Crows and the Crooked Kingdom. The Wrath and the Dawn. Duh. A lot of them. Wild Beauty. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I have to look at my shelf because, like, literally I forget things that I read right after unless I look at their covers. Isn't that ridiculous? That's what happens when you get old. How did you feel about Rogue One? I didn't really like it that much. Isn't that upsetting? Ugh. It made me very sad. If you could create your own fantasy world based off of only fantasy books you've read, which setting would you use? What magic system would you use? What cultures, religions, etc.? That is really hard. Magic system would be like the Mistborn magic system. Setting. Okay, culture and religions and stuff, which would almost fuse with the magic system, would maybe be like Children of Blood and Bone. It's like so good. I also like the religions. I mean, I like a lot of the religions, like Brandon Sanderson stuff too. Setting. All the fantasy worlds are like super messed up. I could even do like the Infernal Devices for like the setting. But they're all bad. Maybe even like the Temeraire because there's like dragons. But they're all spooky. I don't want to deal with that. They're all spooky or like bad stuff happens all the time. Harry Potter versus Star Wars. Star Wars because space. So, have you read any good sci-fi or fantasy recently that included characters with disabilities? Recently? I can't think of anything super recently with characters that have been disabled. I know there are some that I've read, but I don't know if any that are recent. Did you like The Last Jedi? Yeah, it was like one of my, I answered just a second ago that it was one of my favorites. Like, it's my favorite of the Star Wars movies. So yeah, I liked it. Have you read Game of Thrones? No. A series or book that you regret reading and you want that time back. The oh god, what's it called? Ruby Red, Sapphire Blue, and Emerald Green by Kristen Gear. No. Favorite middle grade books of all time? Harry Potter. Do you know of any books with an Asian female lead? I just read, I think, I want to say, and it was hard because they didn't describe this character very often, but I think the protagonist in Born is Asian American, I want to say. There's also The Abyss Surrounds Us. She's Asian American. And there's some Asian characters in the Every Heart a Doorway, Wayward Children series, and they're female. The two that are in there are female. Have you played any Zelda games? I played the N64 Zelda game, the one that everyone talks about. Ocarina of Time. I played Ocarina of Time. Oh, I love your style aesthetic so much. Thank you. Do you like Star Trek? I've never seen it. I know. Isn't that weird? If you could resurrect a beloved Game of Thrones character who has been killed off, who would it be? Oberyn. Oberyn, everything went downhill after that. It would totally be him. Yes, the Tiger's Daughter is an Asian female main character. There's two of them, actually, and they're both Asian. How did I forget that? Again, I have to see things, and then I remember them. And I'm put on the spot, you know? So, I will also die on this hill. I want everyone to read The Tiger's Daughter. Excuse me, hi. Have you read The Tiger's Daughter? You probably should. Just sorry to say. Yeah, people are talking about like Cindy Pon. Cindy Pon is like one of the leads for writing SFF with Asian characters. I love that you lift. Good job with the Adidas powerlifting shoes. Thank you. Honestly, having a balanced lifestyle is so important. And it's so cute how you're into kombucha. Thank you. I love it. Yeah, lifting, man, makes me so happy. Have you read any contemporary novels with Black female leads? Obviously, The Hate U Give is one of them. But I don't read a lot of contemporary, period. So a lot of the books that I've read that have Black female leads are all fantasy, even YA or adults. Like I don't remember the last contemporary book that I read. What was the last contemporary book that I read? I have no idea. Thoughts on As I Darken so far? It's okay. I'm about 30% of the way into it. I'm not super compelled to keep reading it, but it's on audio, so I'll keep reading it. But I like that she's like a bad person. Have you played any of the Dragon Age games or read any of the books? Do you even know me? This is like I talk about Dragon Age all the time. Oh my god. So yes, I play the games. Let me see. Do you like Goodreads? It's fine. It's okay. I don't love it. I don't use it as a like social media platform that much. I just use it to like update my own reading, and I have a spreadsheet that I update my own reading in. Have you read any desert fantasy based on African mythology? It's one of my favorite mythologies. I need more of it. The only one that I've read that's based on African mythology is Children of Blood and Bone, and there's deserts in there, but it's not like just that, you know. And like obviously the torch against the night. Torch Against the Night is the second book, but that is not explicitly based on African. It's obviously like more Middle Eastern. But that's the only other desert fantasy I can think of right now. Do you think the success of Black Panther will help open the door for future Marvel and DC films featuring people of color? Absolutely. Like if they ignore that, they're fucking morons. You need to read One Dark Throne. I actually just got it in an audiobook, so I'll probably be reading that after I finish As I Darken. Books you regret reading besides... I already answered that. The series, the Kristen Gear series. Can you quickly talk about the hype on Children of Blood and Bone? Should I be intimidated? I haven't been paying attention. I mean, I know like people have liked it, but I haven't listened to like what people are saying about it really. So I don't think you should be intimidated. It's really well written, so you'll probably be fine. Oh yes, read Akatowicz and All Nydia Okorafor for African. Yeah, she does a lot of like Afrofuturism, Afro-fantasy. Did you bench a Torch Against the Night? Yeah, I've tried to read A Torch Against the Night. It's over there in like an art copy. I've tried to read it like 4 times, and I'm listening to it on audio, and I just like don't care. But I'll eventually listen to it on audio and like finish it, I think. But I just haven't been in the mood for it when I've been listening to it. Buffy or Supernatural? Buffy. Favorite book to reread? The Night Circus. Favorite female leads? I've done a whole video on that. I've done probably multiple videos on that because I can't like. There's so many. Have you ever gone through a phase where you consumed a lot of media from another country? Not like one country specifically, but again, I used to like watch a lot of like anime and stuff. But there isn't any one that I was like, oh, I really want to like read and watch and ingest stuff from this country. Like I've never really gone through that. So I heard about this Sabrina the Teenage Witch reboot thing, and that it's sort of tied into like the Archie universe, and I am very intrigued about that. That sounds hella good. So that's probably one of the reboots that I'm most excited about. Favorite magic system of all time? Probably the Mistborn one. I really like that one. I really like the Grisha one. I'm really liking the Children of Blood and Bone one right now. But my favorite is probably the Mistborn one. It's just really good. I really like it. It's really fun. Yeah, it's one that I can like see myself like doing, so that's always fun. What are you reading for the BookTube SFF Awards? Well, the next thing I'm going to read are the graphic novels, so I have to read Everyone's Alien when you're Alien 2, and My Favorite Thing is Monsters. I have those from the library. So, do you agree that Riverdale is super cheesy? I haven't watched it, but I just know that it's like CW cheese, so I'm sure it's really cheesy. Favorite Arrowverse female character? I don't watch Arrow. Most emotional moment on Mass Effect. Okay, listen, there's too many, all right? But like the entirety of Mass Effect 3 is emotional. When you get separated from your team at the end, tears, 5 ever. The Legion stuff in 3, I cry every time. When you go to the one planet that I'm forgetting, why am I forgetting? I love them, they're my favorite. The Asari planet. Starts with an I, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. I forget. But when you go to that planet, you see like that everything. I need the music. The nightmare scenes, these are all in 3. Like I cry through basically the entirety of Mass Effect. So I want to learn English, but you talk too quickly. You shouldn't be learning English from me because I'm not teaching English right now. Yes, I do talk quickly, but I am not an English teaching software. So this is not a good idea. Any fast-paced books that you recommend? The Red Rising series is probably like a fun, fast-paced one, but there's so many. There's like so many. I have 1 credit on Audible. What would you recommend? Oh, it depends. The Night Circus, Station 11, the Raven Boys books, the Magician series. Those are all really good. J.K. Rowling or Cassandra Clare? J.K. Rowling. I've only read like 1 series by Cassandra Clare. Would you recommend any fantasy books or series with a male protagonist? Yeah, the Liza Locke Lamora, The Name of the Wind. The first Mistborn book has a male protagonist at least. Well, they have in the other ones, but they start splitting up the POVs. There's a lot. Blood Witch Theories video. I try not to do theories and theories videos because it's just like if I get too wrapped up in my own theory, then there's a chance I might not like whatever the author puts out. So I don't do that. I leave it. Whatever's going to happen, happens. It's fine. Oh my gosh. I hear one note of Leaving Earth and I cry. Same though. I have the whole Mass Effect 3 soundtrack. And if I want to cry, I listen to it. And I listen to it a lot in the car. And I want to die a little bit. Like every time it happens. Favorite Lord of the Ring character? I really like Aragorn. I really like Aragorn. I really like Legolas. And Legolas was my high school boyfriend. I had his poster on my door. And I did up until a couple of years ago at my family home. My mom just recently took it down. Like 2 years ago, she took it down. A book you would recommend to someone you know nothing about? The Night Circus. You know, the same question for everything. Will you be reading Restore Me? Yes! Yes, guys. Yes. Favorite soundtracks, the BioWare game soundtracks, The Witcher soundtrack, a lot of video game soundtracks, Assassin's Creed soundtrack, Lord of the Rings soundtrack, Pride and Prejudice, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are probably my favorites. Any songs that remind you of a book or a character? I have playlists that remind me of ships, but I can't even think of like all of them specifically right now. Have you ever read Bone Witch? I have not, but I want to. That sounds really great. When are you reading Morningstar? When I have time, which is after grad school probably. Anytime, just putting it out there. Anytime any of y'all ask me when I'm going to read something, when I have time. It's not like I'm intentionally putting any of these off. I want to read them too. Any of the books that you asked me about that I own, that you know that I own, that I want to get to, I want to read them too. I want to read them more than you want me to read them. Let's just put that out there. So when I have time. Favorite race to play on Skyrim? I like the Khajiit, but I think I've only played them like once. I usually end up playing Redguard. Least favorite character from your favorite book? Who's my least favorite character from the Night Circus? Probably, I don't really have one. One of the dinner guests, probably. But I couldn't even say who that would be. Some video games that you're really looking forward to, new releases are already released. Something you just really want to play. The new God of War that's coming out. Cyberpunk 2077, when that comes out, is my most anticipated video game release that's been announced. Obviously, like Dragon Age 4, when it eventually comes out, I'm going to be hyped for. But like Cyberpunk is happening. It's coming. I'm going to pee my pants this summer when they start releasing stuff for it, because I know they're going to. Like, they're probably going to have something about it at E3, and I'm going to pterodactyl screech into another dimension when I see it. So those are the big things. Do you own a Nintendo Switch? I don't. Mr. Darcy or Mr. Bingley? Darcy, because he's a grumpy pants. Bingley's too nice. Do you have Spotify for your playlist? I do. I've posted them before. I can try to remember. If you tweet me, I can try to do it after we're done with this. Thoughts on the Me Too Time's Up movement? Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, some of these are like, guys, do you know me? Feminism and like equality and intersectionality, I'm here for every day. So I feel like it's not a question that needs answering, because like it's duh. Why is The Night Circus your favorite book? Because it's so complex in its like things that you notice when you reread it. Like, it's not a complex, hard book to read, but like you notice so much stuff on reread because it's so layered, and the environment and the atmosphere is like its own character, and that's beautiful and wonderful. And it's just rich, and there's like all the characters are likable in some way, but they're all complex and human. And it has something for everyone in it. Like, it's just really good. And it's beautiful prose, and it's just like, and the set, everything about it is good. I have absolutely no negative thoughts about it. So, the whole Red Rising trilogy gives me anxiety. Same. Like, when I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't have time to read this because it makes me so anxious, but I need to put it down, but I need to keep picking it back up and down and back up and down and back up. What are some other books that you would like if you also like The Night Circus? The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan. The Golem and the Ginny by Helene Vecker. I think you'd also like the Bear and the Nightingale, I think, is a good one for like people who like that. I think Naomi Novik's stuff you would like if you like The Night Circus. Do you recommend binging the Broken Earth trilogy? Yes and no, because I think it's going to be bad for your heart if you do that. But maybe. Have you read The Girl with All the Gifts or watched the movie? I have not. Favorite male protagonist? Probably Locke Lamora or Kelsier. How many pages do you read per hour? 60. I read about a page a minute. The Grisha series versus The Girl of Fire and Thorns. Grisha, but The Girl of Fire and Thorns is also really good. That's not a fair comparison. Top 5 fictional places to visit. They're all bad. They're all bad things are happening and people are dying, and I don't want to live there. So maybe like the Infernal Devices setting. Definitely the Night Circus. I think I like maybe some of the worlds in the Wayward Children series, but like not all of them, because they're bad, man. They're bad. The Darkling or Nikolai? The Darkling. I like a good villain, but I love Nikolai. Again, that's not a fair comparison. Like making me choose between two of my like favorite people doesn't give either one a fair chance, honestly. What's your thoughts on binging books? Is it better to go slow over time or read in rapid succession? As far as binge reading series, it depends on the kind of series. I've definitely shot myself in the foot sometimes with like reading a series too fast and being like, what just happened? I am in a complete daze. I think a nice medium pace is fair. What is a bookish candle you want to see created? It wouldn't be bookish. I want Mass Effect candles and Dragon Age candles. which are probably out there, but I want them from like the companies that I know that do bookish candles. So, Jason Statham or Liam Neeson? Liam Neeson. Do you have any book recommendations with the villain and the protagonist falling in love? Sort of. The Bear and the Nightingale. I haven't read the second book yet, but there's like inklings of that, you know? So I think that one. There's not a lot of like villain and protagonist ones. There's ones where like the character seems like a villain first, or he's more of like an anti-villain, anti-hero, but that's not really what you're asking. Favorite drag from Six of Crows? Inej. Do you listen to music when reading? Sometimes, but not really. I listen in the background occasionally, but really like soundtrack music and stuff like that. Let me see. Do you plan on reading Annihilation? Yes. Dog earing books. Is it a crime? I would not dog ear my own books, but if you want to dog ear your books and it makes you happy, you go ahead. Favorite adult literary fiction books written by women? I don't read a lot of literary fiction, but basically everything I read is written by women. So any of the adult fantasy books that I read that are written by women, I would say are favorites, basically. But I don't have any literary fiction to recommend. Is the prequel series to the Fallen Kingdom series worse than the last 2 books in the original series? Yes. It's really bad. I hate the prequel series. Have you read Forest of a Thousand Lanterns? No. But it's on my shelf. Thoughts on The Diviners? I haven't read it. Let me see. Is Mistborn better than The Way of Kings? I haven't read The Way of Kings, so I couldn't tell you. Do you have any favorite locations from Mass Effect? All of them. Favorite, man. I like the Palaven Moon a lot. I like. Oh man, I like Omega is probably my favorite location, like completely favorite. I like so many of them that I can't even. Why do you think that people hate Mal? Because I think he looks really boring in comparison to a lot of the other characters. So it's hard. It's hard for him. But I used to kind of hate him. Yeah, Arya T'Loak is queen. Arya T'Loak is like the leader on Omega, and she's great. Do you know any books other than Broken Earth of Poly Couples? No, I don't, which is really sad. Are you going to watch season 5 of the originals because of Caroline? Probably not, because I would have to catch up on 5 seasons of the originals, and I don't really want to. I might one day, but I don't really want to. Worst Lee Bardugo book? None of them. They're all great. I legitimately love all of them, so I couldn't even tell you what the worst one would be, in my opinion. Book recommendations for people who like Six of Crows: The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch and Mistborn. What are some of your booktube videos that you're particularly proud of? Any of my discussion videos? I think my discussion videos are like the best and my favorites, but I can't think of any like specific. Audiobooks or physical copy? Physical copy, if I can get away with it. Do you have any nonfiction book suggestions? No, because I don't read a lot of nonfiction. I'm gonna try to, but worst ending in a book series. The True Blood books. That was probably like my least favorite ending of all time. Do you read poems? No, I have not. Maya or Gwari, Vikram or Amar? I think Maya and Amar, honestly. If you owned a spaceship, what would you name it? The Normandy. And it's a spaceship from Mass Effect. Probably the Normandy. Well, I want the Normandy. I like if I have a spaceship, I want it to be like the Normandy, like where you can. It's like a space bus that you can walk around in, and not like an actual spaceship like we really have, where it's like you can't do that. You know, like I want fake space. What did you think about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child? I haven't read it. Favorite bookish subscription box or non-book related subscription box? I've never gotten a non-book related, and my favorite book related one is Owl Crate. Any plans to travel overseas? Yes. I would love to travel anywhere in the world, honestly. What do you picture Inej doing 10 years after Six of Crows? Being a badass pirate that's like feared by everyone and with Cass still. I don't listen to music while reading. Sometimes I will, and it would be like soundtracks, like video game soundtracks. What do you think is a good literary but not cringy wedding theme? I have an idea for one. I have one that when I get married, I'm going to do. So that one, but I don't want to tell you until it happens. Best V.E. Schwab book. My favorite is the Archived. I also really like the Savage Song a lot. Have you read the Monster Hunter series? No. What do you do in your spare time? Reading, video games, watching YouTube videos, bullet journaling, working out. Although I don't really consider working out spare time. It's like actually in my schedule. If you had a windfall of money, what would you do first? Pay off my student loans. And if I still have money left over after that, then I'd travel. But those student loans, man, those student loans. Please tell me the wedding theme. I'm struggling so much. Go on Pinterest, man. You could even do like literary, like you could do like a general bookish wedding. You can even do like, you can do classy Harry Potter ones. Like as long as you don't do any of them that are like super, super over the top, like and too on point, then they look really good. Are you going to read the Dragon Age books? Probably not. I don't really read like a video game supplemental material. Ideal reading location. I read a lot on my sofa with a blanket. How to best go about getting books with special covers? I usually use Book Depository for any like overseas ones. I'm going to upload more videos about my bullet journal. I actually have one coming up I'm going to do about like some of the spreads that I have related to books in my bullet journal. So that's the plan. Do you do any cardio or do you focus only on strength training? I do mostly strength training. I do a lot of like low intensity, steady state cardio. So I'll do like walks. Like I walk 3 miles a day with a dog on average. Or if I can't walk outside, I'll walk on the treadmill for a little while, though I hate the treadmill at the gym, but like I'll occasionally do that. So I do more steady state, low impact, low intensity stuff. Student loans have been my longest relationship. I want to break up. Yeah, same. I hate it. If you could have any magic supernatural power from a book series, what would it be? Just my answer in general is some kind of electrical ability. I don't even know what series I would be referring to for that, but like electrical stuff would be what I would want to do. Do you play in D&D? I mostly play GURPS. I might start playing D&D very soon though. Do you have an all-time favorite Brandon Sanderson character? Kelsier. I think it's probably my favorite. Although I really like Sazed as well. And Tindwyl. And a lot of the characters from Mistborn. Also that one, the like creature guy, whose name I'm forgetting. I think it starts with a K. I don't remember. Do you have any tattoos? Yes, I have a really dumb, small heart tattoo on my hip. It's very small. It's like this. I forget that it's there. Did you finish reading Zenith? I have not even started reading Zenith. I am not going to read Zenith. So I don't own Zenith. I'm not going to read it. Any finished series you really want to do book for? I talked about this before. I don't really care to have series like necessarily continue. Like I never have a series I'm like, I want more from this particular series. Like it's just not something I do. Why do you think that review videos on BookTube don't do as well as other kinds of videos? I think because people, if they want to read a book, they just want to read it and they don't really want the review of it. Like people don't like watching reviews before because they're scared of spoilers, even if it's spoiler free, and they just want to go into it. So for some reason, reviews don't do as well. But I don't actually watch individual reviews that much either. I prefer like wrap-ups and stuff because you get more like snippets and you get more for your money, kind of. More for your bucks, and your bucks being your time. So I kind of gravitate towards those as a viewer myself. Have you seen Love, Simon yet? No, I'm probably not going to see it in theaters. I don't watch a ton of movies in theaters. Like Black Panther was the first movie that I've seen since The Last Jedi, and before The Last Jedi was probably like Wonder Woman. So I see like maybe 2 movies a year in theaters. So I probably won't end up seeing I probably won't end up seeing that. Let's see. Would you ever get a bookish tattoo or maybe a Dragon Age one? I can see myself getting probably a Mass Effect one before anything else, but I don't think I'm going to end up getting like a bookish tattoo. I actually want a Persephone tattoo. What's the worst book you've ever read? Probably Beautiful Disaster or The Bronze Horseman. Are you going to read The Power? I didn't know about the book until now because the person has electrical abilities. I didn't know until just now. Favorite Dragon Age romances? Female Hawk and Fenris, and Inquisitor, Human Inquisitor and Cullen. Really any of the Inquisitors, but like Inquisitor and Cullen, and Elf Inquisitor and Solus are like my 3 favorites of like the protagonist relationships. Do you like wrap-up videos or discussion videos? I'm assuming you're asking if I like one or the other more. I like them both equally. You didn't see Ragnarok in theaters? No. I barely see things in theaters, guys. Like I very rarely go. I don't have a ton of time or money. So I have not seen Ragnarok at all yet. I want to see it when I have time. Favorite mythology story after Hades and Persephone? I really like the Icarus stuff. I think you can do really interesting stuff with like an Icarus type character. I like Medusa a lot. A lot. I think you can do cool stuff with that too. I think those are my 2 favorites besides Hades, Persephone. What would be your own Funko Pop creation if you got the opportunity? Female Shepherd. I'm trying to write a Hades Persephone. Any tips? I talked about Hades Persephone in a video, and that's all the stuff I like about them. So go watch that video, and you can tell you what I like seeing. Do you recommend age restriction in young adult books? No? What does your perfect redemption arc look like? Slow. Slow, drawn out. Slow, really slow. Slower. Slow. I would like it very drawn out. Favorite platonic pairing, like of all time? Oh God. Meredith and Christina from Grey's Anatomy. Now that I remembered. If there was one day a movie or TV adaptation for the Six of Crows duology, which actors would you want to play the main characters? I made a post about this on Tumblr, but I don't know actors' names, like models' names, because I was mostly models. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But I have people that I like pictures them, sort of. Do you like to read review books written by other YouTubers? I will if I'm interested in it for what it is, and not like I don't read books or not read books just because they're written by a YouTuber. I read the books that I want to read regardless, but the books that I have seen come out by other YouTubers, I haven't been interested in just on like what they're about. So I haven't read any of them. I've read and I've bought some YouTuber cookbooks, and they're really great because I would buy those cookbooks even if it wasn't by a YouTuber, you know? So thoughts on Ganzi's and Ronan's friendship. I love them, but my favorite friendship for Ronan is Ronan and Blue. Favorite classic book? Probably Wuthering Heights or Pride and Prejudice. Any young adult books that don't have a romance aspect at all. I did a video about that, or books without romance or something a while ago, so I would recommend that because otherwise I'll have to sit here and think about them. Do you have a Pinterest, and if so, would you like to share it? I have a Pinterest, but I don't ever use it except for food stuff. So I can probably share my food board, but that's like all I use it for is like food and like meal prep. Some bullet journal stuff, but like that's it. I don't really use it for anything else. What can turn a mediocre book into a good, great book for you? Like a really good twist, or something being like, I guess it's a twist, like something being revealed that changes everything that was kind of like bad about the book before. Most overrated character, Will Herondale. I like him, but he's like, people hype him up way too much. Oh my God. Least favorite character of all time? Probably the characters from The Bronze Horseman. Thoughts on Avatar movie news? I didn't know that there was any movie news. It probably got optioned, right? Option means nothing until there's actually development on it, so I don't really have any strong opinions either way. What's your favorite meal to prep? Because I'm running out of ideas. I really like chili. I do chili a lot. I think it's like so easy, so that's really fun. Man, I think chili is like my favorite. So chili. I will occasionally do like a higher protein pasta. I also prep a lot of snacks, so that's a little bit easier for me. But yeah, chilies or like risottos, like all crock-pot stuff, crock-pot risottos. I sometimes will do like burrito bowls. One of my other vegetarian friends does sushi bowls, so I want to try that because it's a wholly different like flavor profile, kind of. If Broken Earth was adapted, would you prefer movie or TV? I think I always prefer TV, but I think Broken Earth would actually make good movies as well. Favorite character you love to hate? Probably like Quentin or something for The Magicians. Thoughts on Philip Pullman? I like his books, but I don't love his books. But I like what he tries to do. How do you choose your next book after TBR? Whatever I'm in the mood for. And usually I'm thinking about what I'm going to read next as I'm finishing up my last book. So kind of go with that. Like usually I try not to read books that are of the same genre, like back to back. Sometimes I'll read stuff if I have like a deadline for it, like if I'm reading it for like BookTube SFF Awards or something. But mostly it's like, I'm kind of in the mood for this now. And that's how I pick. A graphic novel you've been meaning to get to. The ones from the BookTube SFF Awards. So My Favorite Thing is Monsters. Also more on the Wicked and the Divine. I'm not caught up on those, and I need to be, and I don't know what stage we saw on. Are there any books that you really like the concept of, but in practice it fell apart? I liked the concept behind Cruel Beauty, but I didn't think it was executed super well. I also like the concept behind The Bells, but I think that one's not executed as well as it could have been. I think Winter Spell is a little bit that way. Yeah, those are the main ones. I think that I really feel like could have gone a different direction. Favorite Neil Gaiman book? Probably Stardust. It's the first one I read. I have very affectionate feelings for it. I also really like American Gods, but like I don't think it's my favorite, and I think two of the cats are killing each other outside my door. Is everybody okay? Did you hear like you guys probably didn't, but I'm hearing Thunder Peets. We call it Thunder Peets when they're like running around, like, and it's like that's what I'm hearing right now. Do you ever force yourself to read? Sometimes, but if I have to force myself, and I'm probably not gonna have a good time, so I try not to. Can you please say hi to me? Hi, Esperanza. Is that how you say your name? Hi. What mascara are you using? Lashes for days. So this part is fake. It's fake eyelash. But I use is it L'Oreal? What do I use? Hold on. Okay. I use wait. Sorry, that was an important question and it had to be answered. But I use the Maybelline Full and Soft waterproof. Mash or roast potatoes? Roast. Or like baked. Tea or coffee? Both. I really like both for different reasons. Will you show off your cats in a video? I showed them all, I showed them all in a video on my other channel, which is linked down below. I did a pets tag, so you got to see them. Do you play any MMORPGs? I used to play the Elder Scrolls Online. Oh, thank you, Belle. Just wanted to say your nails always look amazing. Thank you. Next plans for your nails. I am going to get, let me show you. I am going to get, the only time I'm actually going to get like light colored nails, because I always get like some version of dark nails, is for sort of like Easter spring, and they are like pastel chrome. Let me see if I can show you. Can you see it? You can't really see all the colors. Can you see how it's like all different colors of like pastel chrome? That's what I'm gonna get next, and they're gonna be bomb. I'm really excited. I go next Friday. A dead book genre that you really want to see become popular again. I think it'd be fun to have more westerns and more pirate stuff, but they don't do super well, I don't think. Thank you. Someone said congrats for 40K. I appreciate that. Have you read Frankenstein or Dracula? I haven't. I own Frankenstein. I plan on reading it around like the fall time again. I always say every year I'm going to read Frankenstein around like Halloween, and then I don't. What do you want to see improve about BookTube? Again, BookTube as a community is like so diverse, and like you can't really say like, oh, like this is how BookTube is. Like that's what I think that I want to see improved. I want to see people stop talking about BookTube as if it's like one thing. Like everybody's experience of BookTube is so different. So like it's hard to talk about it as like a community, like what I want to see improved. But I do want to see like more community stuff, which is why I started BookNet Fest with Mari, because we wanted to see like more community, more connection, and like more open discussion and less like attacking, and just like more like learning experiences, and just less like online. You just get so much like rigidity, and there's so much opportunity for more there and for it to be expanded, and it's really hard to like conceptualize that without having a whole, like that could be a whole video basically. Is there a difference between US and UK books? Sometimes the covers. Has BookTube made you a more critical reader? I think yes, because of just reading more and then knowing what I like and knowing what I don't like and being able to like compare and contrast and everything. What are your favorite BookTube videos to watch? Probably discussions and wrap-ups, which are also the ones that I like filming myself. Belle mentioned that like my tapping of my nails, people really like, and they do that. I get comments all the time of people liking hearing me like tap them on books and stuff. Favorite cover of your least favorite book? I really like the cover of The Bronze Horseman. I really like this cover. This cover is really pretty. This book is garbage. I was so excited to get that cover before I read the book, and then I hate it. I personally love your reviews, and I was wondering if you prefer to watch wrap-ups rather than reviews. Why do you make review videos? Oh, that's not rude. I like reviews because I like individually talking about books. And part of my channel when I first started it is I want to do specific review videos. Because when I am looking for them, they're super helpful. But I prefer being able to like be introduced to like a ton of books in one wrap-up video. So I think doing review videos myself also like challenges me to be a better reviewer. And I can be more in depth and I can say all the things I need to say, and they're really helpful for me, but I understand that people don't always want to watch them. Why do you still own The Bronze Horseman? Because I want to hold it up and tell you how much I hate it. And because I got that cover and I was hyped about it. And it deserves to stay on my shelf here and get yelled at every once in a while. That's why I keep it. I know you're a reader and you play games. How do you balance the two? I don't like, I tend to do either one or the other. So when I'm playing a lot of games, I don't get as much reading done. Well, it'll be fine once I'm out of school. Like basically the three major time consuming things in my life are school, besides like work, are school, reading, and video games. So one of them has to fall by the wayside if I do two of the other ones. So right now I'm not doing video games because I'm trying to read when I have the time and do school. So when school's gone, I can kind of juggle both of them. How do you get your curls so smooth? Mine always go frizzy. I feel like mine look a little random today, but I use the curly girl method, which you can look up online, and I will never go back, basically. Is your significant other a reader as well? He's not really. He writes, but doesn't really read, and I'm always like, you can't do that. So yeah, he wants to read more, but he just doesn't have a lot of time either. Do you have different genres you gravitate towards during different times of the year? Not so much. I feel like sometimes I'll gravitate a little bit more towards like historical fiction, I feel like I left a word out of that sentence, a little bit more towards historical fiction in the winter, but I basically read fantasy and science fiction all year round. Booktube is the community that's so kind in comparison to others, personally speaking. Yeah, I think that's why I'm so just like whatever about people being like, Booktube is so dramatic or what. Y'all, do you even know anything about like the beauty community or like the gaming community? Like, Booktube is nothing in comparison. Like, we have our hiccups and stuff, like as any community is going to have, but in comparison to what it could be, it's doing pretty well for itself and not being complete trash can. So, did you end up finishing the Red Rising books? I still have to read Morningstar, and then I have to read Iron Gold after I read Morningstar. Gel or acrylic? These are acrylic, but I think I want to get gel when I get a new set. Least favorite genre? Probably adult contemporary. And like horror, obviously. If you were forced to give up the fantasy or sci-fi genre, which would it be? I would probably give up sci-fi because I read more fantasy, but I'd be really sad about it. On average, how long are your videos before you edit them? It depends on the video. They're usually double the size of what they end up being. It kind of depends. And it depends on how many notes I've taken, if I've been rambling or whatever. If I don't ever script videos out, but if I take notes beforehand, I'm a little better about being able to keep my words down. So like discussions and stuff are a little bit better about that, but they tend to be double what they actually are. Do you ever feel bad for authors who release their book and then the community attacks them, or do you feel like they should know better if they are on that level? I feel like once you put books out into the world, like they're going to get critiqued positively or negatively, and you should expect that. So I don't really feel bad for the author in that way, especially if it did something really dumb. It's like, you should have known before you did that. But I think authors should have an expectation that when their books go out in the world, like they're open to anybody's critique at that point. Do you like studying? Not really. I don't do a lot of like, my graduate program isn't a lot of like test taking. It's more like papers and projects and stuff like that. So I don't have to do a ton of like quote unquote studying. Do you prefer shorter synopsises or longer ones? Shorter. Do you ever find it hard to explain books you love to people who don't really read books? Yes. I've kind of stopped doing it. I'm like, there's no point in doing this. There's something I can compare it to. You're looking at me with a blank stare. I'm just not going to. Any tropes you typically hate but can enjoy when done well, done once in a book? I can enjoy love triangles when done well, and it's hard to do, but I can enjoy them. That's the main one. I enjoy your limited scripting and editing in your videos. Thank you. How do you come up with all your top 5 Wednesday topics? I don't know how I do because it's hard now. Top 5 Wednesdays are going on for a long time. It's hard to come up with like original stuff. Occasionally I'll look through the suggested thread because we have a suggested thread and take some things from there. Or I'll get inspired based on like something I read and I'll be like, oh, I want to see more of that. So let's like talk about it. Or if there's like a certain theme to that month, like if Father's Day or Mother's Day or something's coming up, and I try to like put a spin on that, but they're hard to do. When is a love triangle good in your opinion? When it's evenly weighted. So when every piece of the love triangle has even weight and it's not like you can tell the character's going to pick the one person, but the other person's still kind of like hanging around. No. But when they all have like equal importance, then it's like really good and really angsty. First book you'll read after you're done with school. Probably, oh God, I want to like look and be like, so happy. I think probably The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, although I'd love to read that before. I also think I would read The Wise Man's Fear pretty soon after that, and then The Republic of Thieves. Like those 3 are like really high priority if I haven't read them before. Also starting The Way of Kings, Stormlight Archive, stuff like that. Those are the ones that I will probably read like shortly after finishing school because I'll be so happy to be able to devote my time to them. A book with a love triangle that you did like. I liked the Infernal Devices Love Triangle a lot. I think that was good. I liked the Kiss of Deception one, although that one starts to feel a little bit unevenly weighted as you go on, but I still kind of liked it. Those are my two that I can really think of. Did you end up getting Audible? I did. I ended up getting it as a gift, which was really awesome. So I am able to get some of the audiobooks that I don't have access to in my library, which is really great. Are you intimidated by big books, and do you like floppy books? I do like floppy books. I'm not so much intimidated by big books. I just want to have the time to devote to them. So sometimes, it's not intimidation at this point. I used to be, and that's why I started Tome Topple, and now I don't have that problem anymore. But now I just want to have the time to devote to them because they take so much time. We've been here for 2 hours. I'm going to answer, I was going to say 3, answer 5 more questions and then get going because we can't be here all day. Although I would love to be, but I'm going to start getting a sore throat and not be able to talk anymore. So, and I have homework to do. I have to do a film critique relating it to group work. And then the film I'm watching is Mean Girls. So that'll be fun. Favorite swear word? I say fuck a lot. I really do. I say it all the time. And I say it in different combinations. It's a little ridiculous. But at this point, it's just part of my language. It's bad. So that was one. Some of these I've already answered, so I'm looking for stuff that I haven't, because that wouldn't be fair. Who's your favorite quote-unquote big booktuber? Probably Kat from Catty-tastic or Kat from Little Book Owl. Those are the 2 that I first discovered back in the day, so they hold a special place in my heart. Last book to make you cry. I think I teared up a little bit in Station 11. Again, some of these I've already talked about. If you could travel anywhere in the world for free, where would you go? I think, I'm very torn. I've been to Rome, so I almost want to go back. But I also would like to go to Ireland. And then I'd also like to go to Australia. So one of those. And then, okay. You guys are asking so many questions. Are there any Pokemon that match your personality or aesthetic? I really like, is it Ninetales? I think the one that, Vulpix turns into? The really pretty one that's beige. I've only played, I only know the original Pokemon. But the one that's a fox with all the tails. I think it's Ninetales. And the fire. That's my favorite. And oh, congrats on 40K, Sam. Your videos have helped me on some rough days. Much love. Thank you. That makes me really happy that my videos could be super helpful. I will do more of these. People are saying I hope you do more of these. Like I said, if you really like live streams, follow me on Instagram, which is always linked in my description because I do live streams on Instagram 3 or 4 times a month. Usually before I'm about to film a video, I'll do my makeup on Instagram and do a live stream like this. So that is where my live streams happen. I do these occasionally on here, but it's easier for me to just plan to do them on Instagram, and they're a little bit shorter and stuff, so it's fun. You're my favorite booktuber and you live near me, so I always hope I meet you one day in public. That would be so crazy. I've never had anybody outside of a book event know who I was, obviously, because I'm not that big of a booktuber. So I would be really excited. So if you ever see me out in public, don't feel bad saying hi. I would appreciate it. Someone said they started using Owlcrate as of this month, so that's fantastic. I hope you enjoy it. I have one more question. So I'm nervous. I'm saving it. I'm seeing questions I've already answered, so I don't want to re-answer them. What's going to be the final question of the live show for the day? Get your hydration in, man. It's important. Have you ever loved a book that your favorite booktubers didn't? No. Well, I disagree with people plenty. But I don't. There's very few people that I consider my like favorite booktubers. So I have never been like, oh, they didn't like that. I feel like a lot of people had really conflicting opinions about Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So that's one of the only ones I can think of that was like kind of polarizing. But I feel like, yeah, and there's obviously people who don't like the Night Circus and just like whatever, but nobody I've been like super crushed about. So you're one of my two favorite booktubers, but I live in Italy, so unfortunately I don't think we're gonna meet anytime soon. But if I go on my European tour, then maybe. Okay, so I have to wrap it up. I want to keep answering questions because now you guys are putting some out there and I really want to answer them. But I gotta go because, like I said, I have that film critique to do for school, and school's important and stuff. So again, if you want to do live streams with me more often, Instagram is where to follow me because I do them very frequently. But thank you guys all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I love hanging out, and I really appreciate you. It's always so much fun, and it makes me so happy. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for 40,000 subscribers. It's like, I didn't mention it a ton because it's kind of mind blowing. And like, what is that? That's like some cities are that size. It's a little ridiculous. It's a little crazy, but thank you. I'm like deer in the headlights now that I mentioned it. Like I'm very grateful. It's super crazy. I would never in my wildest dreams imagine that. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So thank you. I appreciate that you guys love my videos, and I love you guys so much. So I will see you later, and I hope you guys join me for future live shows and stuff, and I will see you with more videos very soon. And yeah, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks, guys.